Okay, so I'm playing as a Byzantines. Very hard, very hard. I've taken over all the land of Arabia, and the Timurids are here, and they're laying siege to Mosul. They have about 3 fully stacked armies with rocket launchers, artillery elephants, or well, just regular elephants, but elephant artillery, and naphtha throwers as well, and even cannon, grand bombard cannon of all things. So what and my guy's got a fully stacked army as well, but I got 1 elephant artillery, 1 trebuchet, 1 catapult, and then just a scattering of other units. The odds are 1 to 6 against me. My general has 2 stars. These guys have almost full stars. Now I have elected this strategy. The enemy is positioned to my south, to my east, and to my north. To the north they have the 2 grand bombards. From the east they have 2 rocket launchers. The artillery elephants come from the south, but they actually they have not done anything when I normally do anything. So what I would normally do would be to position all my troops on the ramparts here, and as what the enemy first does is they send out their rocket launchers and start picking away at my walls here. I can then sally forth my cavalry, take those guys out, and then the enemy would move their several heavy cavalry and all these other units, including these 2 towers and the rams. Meanwhile, to the north, their 2 Graham bombard cannons would just start picking away at my wall up, to the north, and they're so beyond reach that they would just start making all these holes in the wall. Meanwhile, these guys to the east are distracting me. So I can't. So I've tried several times to position my guys on the walls here, distract the guys to the north, or try to disable their cannons, all sorts of different things, and it just doesn't work. I keep getting overwhelmed. So what I'm going to do now is position all my guys here in the city center, and within the confines of or within the limits of the imaginary city center line, and basically kind of let the enemy come over my walls, or butt through the walls and come in, and hopefully what I can have, or what will happen is, and this is what I may elect to do now, but then again, that's just so hard to do, is disable their rams and their rocket launchers and encourage the enemy to come through using their siege towers, and that way it'll just be infantry who will just come along. But they're just going to take over the city gate anyways, and they'll just bring in all their cavalry, so I'm just not going to worry about that. So since my Byzantine infantry have a high defense value, I'm going to place them in front to act as the initial wall to take the enemy brunt. Position my spearmen to the side, and I'm going to have my Varangian guard have a very high attack value but very poor defense value off to the sides. As the enemy comes forward and engages my guys here, I'll launch the Varangian guard into battle. Meanwhile, the enemy's going to be being pelted by all my archers, the elephant artillery, my catapult, and my trebuchet. I'm going to position my general behind the lines to provide the morale bonus, and I'll keep the other cavalry units, in check here. And then when the time is right, I'll launch them forward. So what has happened is the Grand Bombards have demolished this northern part of the wall, which has triggered the southern force to move. And the Grand Bombards are just going to continue to pelt away at the different sections of my wall, tearing it apart. It's unfortunate that I can't do something about, or I don't have all these walls under my control. But right now I'm going to move some of my weaker guys to the walls and just have them kind of follow along these, or keep pace with these advancing troops, and hopefully that can help diminish some of their numbers. Okay, so even though these bodyguard units, and they've lost their general, by the way, they're winning, they're shaken, and several of their units have in fact begun to rout. So it's working. Alright, well, this kind of failed, and the reason why is because my own artillery units kept nuking my own guys, which is just, talk about annoying. What's interesting, though, is I think his elephants have decided to run amok as well, so, but yeah, that was the last thing that happened, is that my elephant, two of my elephants got nuked by a fireball, and then there's 2 elephants left. They went mad, so I put them down. Okay, so the end result is a close defeat. I did some pretty good damage. All the enemies started out with about 800 or over 800 men each. One lost 500, one lost 300, and then one lost 400. So at least I lost the battle. I barely escaped with my general alive. I mean, it's like literally he was like the only guys who survived. Everybody else was just slaughtered. And yeah, so at least I hurt them bad. Okay, this is another battle, and pretty similar circumstances, except 1 to 7 odds. The guy has no command stars. I didn't get any elephants, just a couple archer cavalry guys, and I'm facing 4 armies. Now, what's different is that with this province, Edessa, I do have cannons. I didn't have cannons over in Mosul, so this should hopefully work for me.